Well, that escalated quickly. Remember I was saying that we were expecting a few inches of snow? Well, that turned into quite a bit more than a few inches. It is currently Saturday morning. As of Tuesday, 2 o'clock, we had 0 snow. It started snowing and it continued snowing all day Wednesday and into Thursday. And it snowed a lot. It's actually settled down quite a bit. I should have videoed a couple of days ago, but we were so busy just digging out. You can still see all the snowbanks. The city streets are still a mess. They're still working on clearing things out. The sun's actually burning through though and melting off the pavement. But it's just ridiculous. I never did hear an official number as far as how much we actually got, but it's well over 16 inches. I've heard 20 inches thrown around. Up in Minot, which is about an hour away from here, they got 3 feet of snow, 36 inches. Luckily we didn't get quite that much, but it's a lot of snow. A bit ridiculous for middle of April. I mean, a lot of people are asking, is it uncommon to get that much snow? Yes, that much snow. It's not uncommon to get snow, but to get that much snow this late in the year is weird. So I postponed my trip back home because we were in a blizzard, and I wasn't about to travel in that. So we'll try again in the near future here. So for now, let's work on something out here. Put the snowblower back away. Got a good workout of the snowblower. Got tested out. Got that tuned up. It's running really good now. So I'm happy about that. Yeah, let's work on something. So today I'm working on pulling these rear axle bearing races and the plates behind them. If you can see in there. Made up a little jig here. Once I get it out, I'll show you. It's actually working here. I got it pulled out this far so far. Let me get the rest of the way out and I'll show you what I came up with here. And it even worked. Look at that. Can't believe we actually bent that rod though. That piece that we made. Not rod. Bar, I guess. But we pulled it out. Pulled out my old set of Craftsman sockets and ratchet, but they pass through, so you can slip them over a rod like this. Boss Man got me these for Christmas a number of years ago, and it's one of those I never think to use it because normally you don't need it, but it's kind of nice in a case like this. It's a little more comfortable. I had the ratcheting wrench on there, but it's, you know, a little bit more comfortable working with that. And then I can reverse it because these ones, you know, you gotta flip the wrench around. This one I could go back and forth. Pretty cool. Got it out. Now we can clean up the bore in here, which should be just fine. And we can clean up this part. This is junk. We'll have to see if we can source a new one of them. So now we'll reset up and do the opposite side. So I got the other side set up. You can see the bar in there. Oops. Came off the nut. See it coming out there? This side's actually coming easier than the right side did. So I'm going to continue getting this out, and then we'll move on from there. Cool. Got that side out now too. Came out well. just like the other side, it's kind of surprising. There's quite a bit of moisture underneath the bearings. Water in there with the oil. You'd think that that would have all been kind of sealed up, but apparently it worked in behind there. So we can clean up those parts. You can kind of see how they've sprung open. So if you haven't ever dealt with these kind of bearing races before, it's basically just a great big coil spring. When it's installed, it's under tension. That's what keeps it in place. Because if you remember when it was in there, that gap was quite small. And you let it out, it springs apart. I think there's a tool to install and remove these. At least I've seen them for smaller ones. Seen a video of a guy working on a Model T, and I think it was like the fan. Was it the fan blade? No, I think it might have been like a rear axle. Had these kind of things, and it was like a shaft that you put in there, and it had like a little detent that came and engaged in that hole in the bearing, and then you could take and kind of twist it, which kind of collapsed the bearing, twist and pull to remove it. Of course, that was a lot smaller bearing, so I don't know if they make any kind of a universal tool for these, or if you got to make them on a individual basis or whatever. Like I said, if anybody knows about that, I'd be very interested, because these old tractors have enough of these. I would be interested in buying a tool just for installing and removing these, if such a thing existed, as long as it was kind of a universal, one size fits all type of a thing. So yeah, let's clean these guys up. Got them all cleaned up. Inside the housing's cleaned up nicely, no issues there. Tiny little bit of pitting, but nothing to be concerned about. This is getting a bit ridiculous. Happy Easter, everybody. If I didn't know any better, I'd say it was Merry Christmas, but it is Easter Sunday, and we are getting more snow. I've already shoveled a path out to the garage once, and you can't even tell. It's snowing in so fast. We've already probably gotten a couple more inches, maybe 3. Supposed to snow today, and then there's another storm coming next weekend. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get home. I'm getting tired of this. It's supposed to be spring. Okay, so last night I contacted the company that I can source roller bearings from. Same place that I had gotten the ones for the fan hub on the 612 project. Really nice guy to work with, and very helpful sourcing these, what most people consider obsolete bearings, but I guess they're really not if you know where to look. So I asked him about the bearings for this rear axle. For sure we know we need the races, because we know those are shot. At this point I don't know if these bearings are good or not. I haven't cleaned that one up yet, and this one still needs a final cleaning. It's still pretty grungy. But I gave him the number that's on the bearing here. To me, it looks like a 7780. According to the parts book, though, I looked them up last night, and in the parts book, it is a 7280 bearing. You can read that. So I don't know what to believe there, if they change numbers or if it's a misprint, or if we can get to focus on that. Might not be able to, but take my word for it. It looks like a 7.7, not a 7.2. But anyway, I gave them all the other measurements. The housing bore, so in the actual housing, The bore is 4 9/16. The split race ID would be 4 5/16 end because they're 1/8 thick races. The race is 5 inches long. The actual axle shaft is 2 7/16. That's the number. There's 8 rollers. They're supposed to be 15/16. He gave me that spec, and that's what they are. The bearing itself is 4 7/8 inches long. The book gives the same number for the race and the bearing, so that doesn't help much. In the book, just for future reference, that's what L17, which crosses to L439 for the bearing, and L440 for the race. That's just the Allis parts book numbers there. And he gave me some advice on how to check if these are good. He said caliper each end and the middle of each roller. He says they typically wear more in the middle first than they do on the ends. And then look at these end plates on both ends of all the bearings and compare all these holes and how they fit there. There's really no good way to measure that, but kind of just visually check to make sure that there's no wore out ones or whatever. Of course, you want a nice, smooth, clean, shiny surface. You don't want any pits and rust and whatever, which I don't think that's a problem. There's so much grease on all this. There's no rust or pitting issues. But I'm going to get them all cleaned up before I caliper them and everything. For now, what I'll probably end up doing, I don't know if I've talked about this yet or not, but I'll order the new races for sure, since I know we need them. I'll put them in the tractor. I'll get that axle either fixed or a new one, and then I'll clean up these old bearings, put them back in the axle with the new races, and see how much play we got. If everything looks good, I'll just run those old bearings. If it ends up being a lot of play, then we'll know that the bearings are also worn and we need new bearings. But of course, they're not the cheapest thing in the world either. So if I don't have to replace them, I'm not going to. So that's where we are on that. Like I said, I didn't get a whole lot done out here today as far as content to show you guys because I was busy moving snow this morning. We probably got another 6 inches today, and there's another storm coming next weekend, believe it or not. So hopefully I end up making it home. Hopefully if I get on the road and beat that storm, I'll be okay, but we'll just keep playing it by ear, look at the weather. As far as, then I was doing some cooking and, Easter dinner and normal laundry, and then I had to all the normal chores of the weekend, So I didn't get much tractor time this weekend. So, like I told you last week, maybe next week you won't be getting a regularly scheduled video because with any luck I'll be traveling and whatnot. But we'll just see what the weather does. So if I don't see you for a couple of weeks, I hope everybody had a happy Easter and take care, stay safe from this nasty weather. If you're doing any traveling, go out in the garage and work on one of your projects. Let me know what you've been working on. It's always fun to read that kind of stuff in the comments. See you guys later. Thanks for watching.